Back. We are in the back 9 of round 1 for the Northern Ontario Championship, presented by Diameter Apparel, and this is the FPO card. I'm Colleen McInnes.
And I am Jess Sparrow.
Thank you so much for joining us. So we've had a very exciting front 9 at Huntsville Downs, a golf course that is local to Huntsville, and very, very wonderful people there. They were cooking lunch and providing us with breakfast, and it was just a wonderful place. So shout out to them for hosting us this year. And we've got quite a field here, an FPO 7 competitors. Very exciting.
That's a big FPO field for an event like this. And before we get into it, we got a couple sponsors to thank: Diameter Apparel, Top Link Disc Golf, More Propane, and you also saw OCC come up on the screen.
And Gripped and Ripped.
And PGA Canada. So let's introduce our FPO ladies here. We got Kat Johnson from Toronto.
Irina, and she is from up north in Rossport. Look at that swing.
Showing us her form. And we got Alicia Hums from Sudbury. Shaking it out. Always got a smile on her face.
That space. And Alexandra from Toronto, Ontario. Don't know if you know, but she played for Team Canada in volleyball. She is an all-around Canadian athlete.
Love that. Love that. Sport skills are transferable into disc golf, and let's see how they do as we roll into hole 10 here. It's a par 4. The distance is 620 feet. How would you play this hole, Colleen?
That is a scary first shot over that water, eh? I think, depending on how people are practicing this hole, it's a lot safer for you to be laying up something that, you have that kind of risk with. Especially, like a lot of us, this being a temp course, you're just kind of going based on your practice rounds, right? So it is a turnover shot that they can make over. But depending on how you feel that day, you might want to just lay up. And it looks like Irina's going for it. So it's not too far to get across. I believe she'll be okay there. She's just in the schnurb. Not a great stance, but not in the water.
Definitely not in the water. As long as you're safe and staying away from that OB, I think you're having a good day. Alicia here, crushing one out.
Now this has got a lot of height, so she's just not wanting to skip too much. Perfect. That's a drop zone right there. So if they do go in the water, they are going to the drop zone. I believe there's some other OBs in play as well, like the path that's very, very short right that you can see going down.
Snaking through the fairway there. And Alexandra with a beautiful flex shot out there. Look at that thing fly.
Yeah. Oh, that was beautiful.
My God,
Right, we're talking about those transferable disc golf skills and sneaks. I think she sneaked safe there on the fairway.
That was amazing. Just some solid power. And Kat doing a nice turnover. And land nice for her. Just barely on the rough side there, but that's okay.
Ooh, Irina. Taking a scenic route here. Let's see how she does on her upshot. And to recap here, because this is the back 9, we're going to recap the scores. We got Alicia, sitting at 3 down. We got Irina sitting at 1 down. And we got Alexandra and Kat sitting at 4 over par. Kat here taking her approach to the basket. Again, playing this hole pretty easy, pretty safe. It's got a look.
It's nice relief for them not having too much danger around the basket for this
Right?
hole.
That front 9 had a lot of sneaky bunkers floating around.
The danger just came early on this hole.
A little bit of water. Get the excitement off the tee.
Yeah. And some good upshots. Giving themselves a little bit of a putt, but not too much. And a perfect upshot. That was beautiful. Like those stress-free putts.
Stress-free disc golf. That's what we're all aiming for here.
And that was nice. I think Irina was giving it a little bit to just it could try and go in. It had a great power on it and very, very nice distance.
Ooh, right off the top for Kat. It's those putts where you want to run it, but you don't want to run it, but you want to run it.
Well, and I think she's putting for birdie there, right? So it's nice to have that distance of a putt, but you're putting for birdie. So, you know, you can be all the more confident. And,
a little bit more aggressive, too.
yeah.
Alicia, she's such a great putter. We've seen it on this round so far. If you haven't already caught the front nine, go to Canadian Disc Golf Productions. Check it out.
Yeah, she posts a lot, especially over the winter, of practice putting. Got to get your setup at home somewhere and get those reps in.
Right, putting is where the game is kind of like make it or break it, really. We can all drive and put our upshots out there, but if you're not cashing putts, you're not cashing at events.
Yeah, and a lot of people try to practice tough, long, whatever putts, but if you're making every single 20-foot putt, you're definitely going to gain at least a stroke or a few strokes around.
And talking about strokes, let's see how these ladies move along in the scores as we roll into hole 11. This is a par 3. The distance, 280 feet, so definitely reachable from the tee for these FPOs. But look at all that sneaky OB floating around the basket.
So now I believe on this hole, the path isn't OB. Just where it is, I mean, it's like inches from that path. So the decision, I guess, just keeping away from the actual golf greens. So they had to, this is one hole that they made the path is not OB, just in light of, you know, how they had to organize the course here.
How generous, TDs. You know, give us a little.
Just one hole, but yeah, very nice of the golf course. They actually threw this course together in like a day or something, planning wise, and then obviously they installed it over a period of time, but it's a temp course, so had to work with the golf course about where they could put everything in. And
well, amazing work for, you know, a temporary course here at the Huntsville Downs for the Northern Ontario Championships, presented by Diameter Apparel.
Just how beautiful. Northern Ontario, people.
Ooh.
Best time of the year. That's questionable, right?
Right,
That's
questionable shot. Is it on sand? Is it safe? We're going to find out.
It's going to be one of those card decisions.
But yeah, beautiful course. We're up in Huntsville in the Muskoka area.
Definitely a place to visit this time of the year. October, November, when you see these leaves changing color, it's just beautiful.
And a great place to play disc golf.
Yes. Thriving right now. Huge community.
And look at that kind of like skip, slide across these golf greens. Cat gets a little bit of extra distance towards the basket.
Oh, I believe that might have been, because like I was saying, they were trying to stay away from that. That actually might have been an OB, because she came out of that. So, like we said, bunkers are hazard, but and it's there's not a lot of holes that comes into play, but I guess that was one of them. So like we said, that pass, okay. Good up shots there. They're only a few feet away for that last putt.
Oh. Settle down now, and it does. Alexandra with a putt.
She had that other roll away too, and right on hole 1, I think, right? Yeah. If you didn't watch that, go back and check it out. Oh.
Good putt from Irina here.
And it looks like Irina's card called her inbounds because that was a birdie, so good break for her there. I mean, when it's that questionable on the line, you really want to give the benefit of the doubt to the player. We're not looking to give people strokes, we're just looking to be fair. What would be the best call? Some good tap outs there.
Tap, tap, tap here on hole 11.
So we got Irina with the birdie, Alicia and Alex with the par, and Kat with the bogey there.
And now we're rolling into hole 12, another beautiful long, or kind of long scenic fairway. This is a par 3, 340 feet. So let's see how these ladies do. How would you tackle this hole, Colleen?
The water that's there is, I think, too risky to want to get too close to that basket. And you know, you want to get close, but there's no reason why you can't just be like 30 or 40 feet to the left and just par out this hole. It depends on where you're positioned and how you've been playing the course so far, how aggressive people kind of get, but you don't want to lose frame of that mind when you go into a tournament and you're like, I want to get a good round on this course, and then you start having to feel like you make up things. And then, doing something like that.
Sploosh.
You know, 340 feet is really pushing it for distance, and you start to lose your accuracy as soon as you're trying to push too hard. Like this. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I know it's far away, but
Nice, safe. Not taking any OB strokes.
And Alex just crushing one. That looks like a very straight line, but...
Oh, what a shot.
Wow, there is a little strip of land right in between where that tree is.
And she found it. Let's see how Kat does here on hole 12 at Huntsville Downs.
Good turn, but is it too much? Ooh, that's land.
That's land, but is that OB like on or over water?
I think in this case it's just water. But we will have to see where she plays from. Then we got Alicia. Textbook up shot. She gets it close.
Beautiful. This is why she's 4 down. If you're watching, watch her form. Watch how she's playing this course.
Yeah, look at how she's breaking it down and not doing too risky of things. She's doing aggressive things when she needs to or when she wants to, but not when it's unnecessary. And I like that. That's so smart.
Smart disc golf here.
That's how we beat the MPOs.
That is how we beat the MPOs. Smart disc golf. An arena with a little bit of an up there, nice and safe again.
So that was for her 3 with the OB there.
Kat off the top.
Rough luck, because that looks straight on, just too high.
Good putt from Alexandra there.
Very nice, and that was a birdie, so she was in bounds. That was a beautiful shot. Just nicked that tree right there. I guess pretty lucky it didn't go in the water.
Gotta be good to be lucky, and we've seen a lot of that from Alexandra today.
Yes, absolutely. Nice putt from Irina.
And smooth. Look at that no stress putting.
So she is taking a bogey there, but like where she went in the water, it would have been hard to save a par. So I think overall that's a good result after that drive. And that's her first bogey. So, you got to take those things like, forget that hole right away. Don't carry that with you. Happy about that. Move on to the next hole. Remember that game plan. Don't think like, oh, I have to get things back or anything like that.
One hole at a time, one shot at a time, even when you're tackling a course in a 3-round tournament like this.
Yeah, nice comeback with the Cat. There we go.
A little bit of luck on that Toronto Women's Disc Golf Club towel, putting her putter in the basket.
That's right. Kat, one of the founders of the Toronto Women's Disc Golf League. And Alicia tapping in her par. Smart play on that hole.
And that's hole 12 here at the Huntsville Downs as we roll into hole 13. This is a par 4, 700 feet. What a long bomb. Let's see how these ladies break down the tee. How would you tackle it, Colleen? Because we got that little bit of water there.
Yeah, this is definitely one where I think I would be not going over the water. The risk of going over the water, I watched a lot of MPOs not even make it over or hit trees on the other side. And although like maybe you can make that distance, it's just not where this hole particularly. The other one, when they were playing hole 10, a lot shorter. This one, way riskier. I think getting the distance to be in a good position is kind of what they're looking for here.
And we got movement on the tee. Alexandra takes the tee box here. And she's going to put one down there. So nice, easy in the middle, setting herself up for the next shot.
So Alicia going straight over. And this is what I'm saying, like, you can make this for sure. That was beautiful. It's just whether or not you want to risk those trees. They look, pretty scraggly there, but if you hit a branch the right way and it knocks you backwards, that's a instant regret.
Risk reward, right? You can choke up, take it short, or you can try and gun it. But I think these FPO ladies have the guns, have the distance to be able to get over. So let's see how Arena does here. She's trying to go over as well. Didn't quite see it finish there. And Kat rounding up the tee pad here on hole 13.
It looks like she might be lining up with Annie, so I think she might be going for it too.
Definitely going for it.
I aired that one out.
Ooh, I didn't like that. I'm not sure if that was short. Maybe she didn't even make it in the water. Going for a big pump, try to make up some of that distance she lost out on. And another pond. So that's what, you know...
That's what you were talking about there.
Yeah, and it's... Hindsight's 20/20, right? Like, you hit the water, and you go, I should have laid up. But, like, realistically, it's all about your practice rounds. And you not knowing the course very well, none of us do, when you're playing a temp course. So you really have to either trust your disc that you're choosing, or... manage what you're doing right now, because Irina's having a great round. Just lay up that hole, and sure, maybe you don't score on it, but you're gonna maintain, which on a 3-round event is really important.
Yeah, lots of golf, gotta stay consistent, and that's what Alicia is doing here. Let's see how she does. Finding a little bit of tree.
Looks like on the other side of the water though, so he's safe.
And Alexandria lining up a hyzer shot here. And a good shot looking at the basket. That's what you want. Long way up the fairway. If you're looking at the basket on shot 3, you're having a great day.
And this was the toughest, if not one of the, like, there was 2 holes that were pretty tough, but this was one of the toughest holes for FPO. So all around on the field, this was really pushing people's distance, their precision, and just sneaking up there.
Now I'm wondering if that path is OB.
I am as well, because I mean it's not a paved path, but it is a cart path, right? So, and I wouldn't put it past them. It does look pretty close to the basket.
Lots of OB here actually at the Northern Ontario Championships presented by Diameter Apparel, so could be OB, we don't really know. Kat finding a little bit of struggle there through the trees, but she's gonna putt it up and put it near the basket.
That was just a really tough spot for her there. Good she got out, up and down. Oh, and it looks like Irina was OB, yeah.
Sneaky OB all over this course. Bunkers, paths. And she makes her putt, so a little bit of cut the bleeding because she took 2 strokes in the water, another on the path.
That was a tough hole, and certainly not easy for anyone, so it feels a lot worse when you're in it.
Kat with a nice putt from the edge of the circle there.
So par 4, Irina's taking a 7. Kat's got a 6 here. And Alex tapping in for a 4. And Alicia tapping in for a 5. So Alex and Hannah Starsinski were the only pars on that hole for the whole day.
Amazing.
Everyone else was bogey or more, so really tough hole for FPO.
Yeah, let's see how they do here on hole 14. This is a par 3, 300 feet. So a little bit of a downhill any shot?
Yeah, and it's on a hill here, which isn't as tough when you take into consideration the long grass. Normally on a hill like that, you're really worried about the cut roll or something like that happening. But with the long grass, it's a little bit less risky. So I'm very excited to see some forehands out of FPO. It's not something we often see, but it's coming out more and more often.
Yeah, a lot of these FPO ladies come from, you mentioned Alexandra's got a volleyball background, Kat's got an ultimate background, and so we see these people or these players with more of a flick sometimes. But Alicia here, she's going to go for an traditional Anheuser shot.
When you feel more comfortable with a shot, I mean, it's hard to want to convert to something else that you have maybe less distance or less accuracy with. But we do see Kat do a lot of forehand, so I'm a bit surprised to see her doing a backhand, but I think it's just the distance. Like 300 feet's just particularly long for a forehand.
Absolutely. I'd agree.
And I always stand there and I'm like, well, I could throw farther than 300 feet with my backhand, so why not try that?
And Irina here taking that backhand approach.
So we got 3 out of 4 backhands. And just nicking something a little short, but it looks like pretty safe. And do another turnover for the putt and just pumping it. That was a bit much, but there's some trouble back there, so we're going to see where she ends up.
Yeah, it looks a bit thick in terms of the bush. bush line or tree line there, and Alicia putting it up there, and she'll have a putt.
I think it's tough because where both of them were, they were kind of blind, whereas Alex can really see a bit better here.
Yeah, what a difference when you can see the basket on your shot.
Yeah, it's that distance is so hard when you're just peeking out, and then you're like, okay, I think I know how far. Ooh, a good run from Kat there.
Yeah, just putting it there, easy peasy.
Safe try.
Oh yeah, she caught a little bit of woods there, but manages to put it under the basket.
And it started to roll, but it's soft. So I think that tall grass. Thank you for not cutting the grass there, guys.
Yeah, thank you, Team Nog. Alicia with a putt.
So we got Alicia with a par and Alex with a par. We got Kat with a par, and then Irina just tapping out a bogey there. It's a tough second shot. I mean, her first shot left her a little blind, so tough to recover from that when you when you just don't know the distance. But, pretty good for the hole, and probably feeling a lot better than the last hole.
Right, like we were saying, you can't really take that with you. You got to start fresh each and every hole, and hopefully they take that in as we roll into hole 15 here. It is a par 3. It's 245 feet. So definitely reachable for these FPO ladies off the tee, but it looks like there's a bunch of water and OB in play here.
Yeah, they really utilized a lot of the features of this golf course, which I think is just makes it more interesting and more exciting. And some of the pars and distances were a little short, so it felt great to have short but dangerous.
Yeah.
It's a lot more fun. Not just big bombs.
Especially on a golf course, too, where it's traditionally open shots, big fairways. Using those features like you're talking about really, really elevates the level, especially for a championship like this.
Yeah. Now, I like what Alex just did there on her drive. She went high over the trees, which if you're going straight at the basket here, it's very risky because if you hit left or right,
that, right? You're a little bit short, stuck in the reeds. Maybe you hit the trees and bounce back into the water. That's just all danger zone.
Yeah.
How would you tackle the basket here? How would you approach a basket?
I think, so what Kat's doing, turning over into those trees, I think would probably be my big, I don't want to miss like that. I'd rather go really high hyzer and miss long or hit the top of the trees and knock down, but I'd still be in bounds. So I liked that big over the right side. If you go too straight at the basket, you risk hyzering left or turning into turning into the trees there.
Right, and you can see the wind pushing everything left to right here on the hole and reflecting in the drives where they landed with their discs.
But not too bad. I mean, it punched through, right? So
those pine trees, they're not so solid. They can let some discs through sometimes.
Yeah. And to be fair, if you're worried about going too long, those trees will slide down. So.
But, it looks like Irina and Kat here both punched through a little bit to have a good solid putt at the basket.
Ooh, yeah, Kat.
Clap,
nice
clap, clap.
Birdie.
Yeah, great birdie from Kat. First birdie of the round for her. Love to see it. And a good putt from Alexandra, too. She'll take a birdie on hole 15 here.
Oh, and just a bit of a miss. Right side. I mean, I guess if you missed, that seems like the typical side.
And Alicia cannon it in. She'll walk away with a 3.
Yeah, thank you.
And Irina here walking away with her bogey. So tough couple holes for Irina. Let's see if she pulls it around. As we roll into hole 16 at the Northern Ontario Championships presented by Diameter Apparel, round 1, back 9 at Huntsville Downs. So this is hole 16, par 3, distance 230 feet. Colleen, we got a lot of bunker action. We got some OB. How would you tackle this hole?
Well, it's almost encircled, right? And the problem with this hole is if you're looking at it to lay up short and run the putt, it's almost not even possible, right? There is a little bit of a strip, kind of actually right where Alex landed there. That is ideal.
That looks like the perfect shot here, and she gets a plastic playback.
That is, I can't say I would be able to be that bold. That was amazing. Just the confidence in her
confidence, the accuracy, just I'm gonna get it there, no worries, no problem. And she threw a putter there.
That looks like maybe an NV, or it's definitely MVP, definitely a putter. And just the precision of distance was perfect, as well as the height.
Yeah, so maybe you want to talk a little bit about disking down on a hole like this.
Yeah, particularly with putters. Like, actually, as you can see with that, like, they don't have as much skip. They're not going to skip away as much. They're going to hit the ground and kind of settle a little bit more for you. As well, you won't have a risk of a cut roll or something like that. So it's not going to cut roll away. Very fortunate for Alicia there. Like, for example, if that was a driver, it might have hit into the bunker because it just hits off trees a little bit sharper than a putter or a mid-range would. So disking down is definitely not just for distance, but it's also for the ground play that you want to get. And this looks like a putter as well. Oh, and just showing up Alex a little bit there. That was amazing. Another playback.
Plastic playback here from Marina. All these ladies throwing putters off the tee. And like you said, Colleen, controlled shot. You can put a lot on it, but that ground play becomes consistent and predictable when you toss a putter off the tee.
Oh, that looks like she was really going for that basket. I love that. And she kind of went on the riskier side because that loops around over there, whereas where Alex landed, it is a little bit of a strip. So,
yeah, I feel like Irina this whole round so far, she's had a lot of confidence and aggression in her play, which I love to see.
Yeah, definitely. It's more exciting to watch, too.
Yeah, go big or go home. And you got 3 rounds to play at Knox, so you ain't going home. You may as well go big.
And Kat not getting any stroke of distance, just a hazard stroke there. Going for her par, though, which isn't too bad.
Yeah, her putting's so good, too. Like, very consistent today. More smiles from Kat Johnson. She walks away with her par here, even after taking a stroke.
All her putts if she missed, it was still dead center. It was just too high or too low. Like, she's got that accuracy really on.
Yeah, Kat's real tough to play against, man. I've played against her a couple times, and it's those putts. She can make anything within the circle and just beyond. And so that consistency in the putting, again, as we mentioned earlier, is really the difference between, placing and cashing at a tournament like this.
Yeah, I'm always very jealous of her forehand. She does it a lot for upshots, and she's just really got a good handle on that.
That ulti background, man. Everyone's got a different sports background they can bring into disc golf, which I think is really cool about the sport. So that's hole 16. We're rolling into hole 17 here. It is a par 4. The distance here is 520 feet. Looks like an open fairway, again, with that water feature floating around. How would you tackle this hole, Colleen?
The managing the expectations, you can see the basket is very close to the water. So when you're throwing a particularly like a second shot, you really want to make sure you're landing in a position that it's not just taking into account the water, but like where you want to putt from. Like, do I want to be more left or more right? Because you don't want to be short, obviously, in the water, but you really want to make sure, like, if I'm a hyzer putter, that water's on the right side of the basket, not the left side, like there's a lot you can do to help yourself feel more confident when you're going for stuff like that. Now, there is, I believe, 2 options on this hole where you can kind of see Irina going a little bit more right. So we just saw the left side of the fairway, but now we're seeing kind of a different route you can take. Kind of funny because your card splits up and goes different directions.
Options. You got options on hole 17 at Huntsville Downs.
Definitely this is one where we're not going to see them pushing over the water. The distance is just quite a carry in the first place. But getting to that right side's wide open, the left side's wide open, but you are still having to go over the water a little bit at the end there. So good distance for Kat.
Great crush there, setting herself up for a perfect second shot.
You don't want to go I like what she did. You don't want to go too right. You don't want to risk that water landing in the reeds and then you have a really crappy stance or something.
Yeah, and Alicia, again, with a good shot, setting herself up for the second shot, managing expectations here on hole 17.
So unfortunately, like you can see where Irina is now. This looks like a great shot, but unfortunately landed in a bunker. But this side of the fairway is a great option for you to take as well. And, I mean, like, if she had landed a few feet back from where she was, that would be tap in for a birdie, right? So it's a good opportunity, but then the same thing with where Alicia is here, so.
Ooh, sliding through. Lots of kind of traffic to get through on the basket on this side of the fairway.
Yeah, and having that huge pond where if you're primarily backhand, which most of these ladies are, having to do a turnover or really wide hyzer is a bit scary. You kind of do what Alex did here, pump it a little bit too far, and that's okay, you got a putt.
I'd rather be too far than too short here, especially with the water coming into play.
And I'd rather be where Kat's position, like left side from her perspective, where the camera is, so that when you're putting at it, you're not worrying about the water anymore.
She turned it over a bit, but that's okay. She'll still be looking at the basket here.
Ooh, little bump and a roll, but that's still really nicely in the target there.
Giving it a good run just over top of the basket. Alexandra will have a little bit of a comeback putt there. And Alicia, off the cage.
Centered though, that was looking good.
I really like how they used the stump here on this hole. Got to use those features of the course. And Alexandra making her comeback putt.
Great comebacker. That was beautiful. Yeah, just some really beautiful scenes out here. I know a lot of people took a lot of pictures.
Oh yeah, beautiful fall, scenic environment here in Huntsville, Muskoka. And talk about scenic environment. Look at Arena's hat. I love it.
Oh, she's wonderful. And we know we could see a few extra spectators on the card with them. A lot of the MPOs finishing their round, coming to hang out and
cheer on the FPO ladies. Kat closing up this hole. Pink putter all day.
Lots of pink on this card.
And lots of smiles. The energy on the FPO card is always top of the field.
Anyone, looking to get into FPO, the division is wonderful. The ladies are so uplifting for each other. It's amazing. Don't be scared.
Now let's see how they finish up round 1 here at Huntsville Down. This is hole 18. It is a par 5, 850 feet. Wow, I can't believe I just said that. And look at all the features of this fairway. How would you approach this hole, Colleen?
The first drive, I think you can just pump it as far as you can, and honestly, the second one, it depends on how far your first drive gets. You can almost go the same kind of speed. It's tough because the OB is on the left side, but this path behind the basket is actually OB, and it goes all along the left side of the fairway, past the water, but it just is something to keep in mind on your third or fourth shots. You really don't want to be accidentally going OB at the end of the hole. So
sneaky OB all over the place.
That was a forehand. That was a great, just smooth, getting out of those trees. You can see there's a Mando up here, so it makes this drive a little bit more tense when you're going, but again, do want to just rip it out there as far as you can. Tough part is that they're not getting the height that they would want to really get that full flight. So
I think that's why Alexandra took that open left side.
Yeah, and I like that with what Kat's doing too. If you have something that is really understable that you trust, why not get that height on this side, at least get a full flight out of it.
Yeah.
And park in the last hole.
That's all right. She's still open there. Take that field, use that advantage. You really don't want to mess around with these trees or potentially hitting something off the tee here, especially with that Mando in play.
Yeah, and you really do want to get out of the trees. Going on that straight right off the tee pad instead of out this side, you might end up in trees still. And then that really sucks for your second shot because you don't have what Alex has, where she can do a full run up. She feels like arm swings, no big deal. I'm not going to hit a tree.
Nice flat footing too.
Yeah. So it's a bit temperamental on the second shot because that water does, I feel, really come into play with the distance, that you want to really rip it, but you need to be accurate.
So we're talking about, the difference between taking the left side and right side of the fairway here. Arena took the right side off the tee, and she's a bit choked up by these trees. So, not necessarily being able to get the full flight out of the disc.
Yeah.
And Kat with a basket right in her view on this shot.
So she may be going it looks like a turnover, but worst case scenario, it hyzers out, she's still going to be over the water. Like, I like the line she's taking. She actually would maybe be close to the path, but I don't think it's as much into play as, like, the water. So that was a great line. And this is a bomb from Alicia. How's she going to do about this water?
No problem.
Not even close. That was perfect. She had a nice little flat area, too. And they're still a ways. Like, that was great from Alicia, and she's still a ways away.
Right, we're talking par 5, 850 feet here on hole 18, so...
Irina looked like she actually might have disc down to lay up that so that she could get this nice hyzer gap or maybe the middle gap, but she didn't want to test that water.
Personally, water scares me, so I'd probably do the same if I was in her position, you know?
So that was for her, I believe, her 4th shot, right? I believe. She went in the trees there, laid up. Yeah. So she's just managing this hole and getting up there. No need to get an extra stroke in the water. Alex looked like the same thing, just trying to get into a position. You really don't want to push too much and go on these paths. At this point in the hole, you've managed the water. Making an error where you go left or right is really a big risk.
And Alicia there, she had a clean look at the basket, but gets a little bit caught up in the trees on the right-hand side. And Kat taking a shot, taking an approach, trying to get as much distance to the basket as possible, and she'll be looking at it for her putt.
But that path is
OB, right?
So she's actually not getting not a lot of distance on that, unfortunately. So we'll see her. It kind of looks like she's rethrowing, but she's probably moved up a bit.
Got a bit scared there of the OB on the left-hand side. That's okay. It can be a bit scary.
And, last hole, it's tough. You really want to manage what you're doing. You're happy or whatever with what you've done in the round. You want to just get through.
Get through and finish strong.
Yeah.
And Alicia here, putting it up for a putt. Let's see how Irina does.
So Irina just getting it up there. I think she's managing at that point where she knows she doesn't want to go on that path, running the putt that she didn't need to really run.
Kat puts it right there.
I'm tapping in for the bogey. So getting a 6 on this last hole. We got Alicia here. Alicia's putting for her par, so for a 5.
Boom, in the basket.
And just solid 1 bogey this round. That's it.
That's how you play a clean round of disc golf, Lots of birdies, 1 bogey, managed to pretty much stay out of the OB, and that round rating for Alicia is going to be 950. And Alexandra taps out. She's got a handful of bogeys, handful of birdies. Her round rating is going to be 916.
We got a Cody over there cheering Kat on.
Cody Johnson, Team Johnson. Kat Johnson taps out, and that is 846 round, and Irina had an 889 round. So cruising out this back 9 at the Northern Ontario Championship presented by Diameter Apparel.
So these ladies have another round later in this day, and then they have one more the next day, both at Wolf Tracks. We're going to see a lot of changes in scores, I feel. Very tough course. Thank you to Wolf Tracks and Huntsville Downs, and also Limberlost that they're not playing. Those courses wouldn't have made this tournament possible without those.
And the tournament wouldn't be possible without our sponsors, Diameter Apparel, Top Link Disc Golf. Also, if you like this disc golf content, like and subscribe to Canadian Disc Golf Productions on YouTube.
Share with your friends, have a watching party. Look forward to round 2 and round 3 coming out soon, and we are excited to have these FPOs. Please go, follow them, support them when you see them out there playing. And thank you to Gripped and Ripped, our TDs. Wonderful.